Welcome to the January 11th, 2022 episode of Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm still writing 2021 on checks and stuff and bouncing them all over the place. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
Here is a quick pro tip. When writing a physical check, your checks stale date at 6 months. So at year change, they are, and you make a mistake, they are automatically stale.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 6 months.
I actually did have somebody accidentally, because I think they were distracted or whatever, write the wrong date on a check for me. It was the 19th instead of the 9th, so like the check was written for a time that did not yet exist.
Yep, it was post-dated then. Yeah.
Yeah, like I checked with the person at the bank. Like I did not want to deposit that electronically. I checked in person at the bank just to make sure, and they were like, "Yeah, no, get another check."
Yeah. So yeah, this comes from a person who worked at a bank for a long time. So
there we go.
Yeah.
And I'm vice the bank.
I am. You know what's kind of funny is after 5 years, my older brother, he's 7 years older than me, so he's quite a bit older. But he finally took some interest in the podcast. So
that came out of nowhere, because like I didn't mention anything, but like one day, like a couple of weeks ago, I think I get a text out of nowhere. And I didn't recognize the number, and he was like, "Hey, this is Vice's brother," and I was like, "What?" He's like, "What's the name of that podcast you guys are on?" I'm like, "What?" All right.
It was actually pretty cool. Maybe he's even listening right now, but he's just like, so why aren't you like? He must have done like a Google search or something. And he's like, why are you not Vice the Legend or something like that? And I was just like,
does he know about that?
Well, no. He must, because like, why would he ask that? He probably looked up the character or whatever.
Oh, he did
Google.
Ask that. I was gonna say, would he know to ask that? But I guess he
no,
would.
he wouldn't. You know, he just never played Skies of Arcadia.
Well, that's the thing. Like, not everybody. That's not common knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. So like, he's just like, why didn't you become Vice Legend? And it's like, it was the rank I had when I started up my forum account when I was in middle school.
Well, what was that? What was it, like Vice the Fallen, when you get like, the imposters?
Yeah.
By the way, I think those guys were DLC on Dreamcast. Like, they're just, everything's on GameCube, so it never even occurred to me that game had DLC on Dreamcast. But yep.
Yeah, it's like a free update, like a free quick little thing that they added. But I think it actually adds a lot. I like that there's imposters going around. I think that's pretty cool.
And it was more than that. There's like an additional aerial encounter. There's like little things.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. But anyway, let's talk about some NFT nonsense, Lotus. So, Konami comes out and goes, and of course Konami is on the wrong side of things.
I was going to say, this is one of those cases, like, everybody was disappointed, but zero people were just surprised. This is the pachinko company, so like
slash
revive our
gym
old franchises.
Gym company.
Maybe I'll port the old games. I'll give you a Castlevania collection of all the old stuff, but we're not making a new Castlevania. We're not making a new Metal Gear. We're not making a new Suikoden. We're not making a new Silent Hill. We will do Pachi slots, and now we will do NFTs. It's like, of course you would. Of course you would.
They're pretty terrible company. I mean, they have been better about re-releasing their games as of late. I will give them that. But they aren't particularly good at, like, you know, coming up with, like, normally what a company may do if they have a hit anime on their hands by accident, is they might want to come up with a brand new game that ties into the hit anime that they have had running for 3 seasons and possibly more. Actually, they're going to do a spin-off too. So,
yeah, I was gonna say I haven't watched it, but I was under the impression that the 3rd season was the last one.
Well, no, they're coming up with another like a spin-off one and possibly more. So
a spin-off, yeah, but I thought season 3 was the end of like that.
Maybe I don't know. They might even do a time jump. Who knows? Like, right?
Oh yeah, well there's limitless possibilities for like Castlevania something. But,
Yeah,
I thought Season 3 was the end of the Castlevania 3 anime.
Yeah, probably. I haven't read. I haven't watched the third season. I only watched the first, but which is ironic considering my fandom. I really love the first season. I just haven't gotten around to it. It's just one of those things.
I saw a little clip from 3 where one of the bosses. I don't even know if this boss has showed up in Season 1, so I'm not going to specify. But one of the bosses was chatting to Belmont. Definitely talked differently from how I thought he would. Way differently.
What is it, Frankenstein or something? Like Frankenstein's monster or something?
No, it's Death. He's in every Castlevania game, but like his manner of speech, he just like casually swears all the time.
Oh, that's
like, yeah. Trevor's giving him this like grand speech, and he's just like, "Are you dictating your fucking obituary to me, Belmont?" It's like nice.
I wonder if his middle name is Ralph. That'd be really funny.
That would be great. I remember
Trevor Ralph Belmondo.
No, well, I was gonna like when Season 1 first came out, there was a reviewer who I watched on the internet who was like, "His name's Trevor though. That doesn't seem like hero name. I know it's in the game, but and I was like, could have been Ralph.
Ralph's
a joke.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, Ralph is his name in the Famicom version. So, yeah. They changed it to Trevor, which is much better.
Yeah, I much prefer Trevor.
But anyway,
Ralph Belmont.
I think he's canonically Trevor now. So yeah, because he shows up in other games.
I'm just imagining Ralph Belmont with like Dracula and all these monsters attacking him, and before they reach him, he's just like staring into space. I'm in danger.
I don't think Japan realizes that we have a connotation with Ralph, like being like Ralph Wiggum and King Ralph from the 90s.
Yeah, it's not even fair. It's like there's nothing wrong with the name Ralph, but like, Ralph Wiggum just ruined it.
Yeah, Ralph Wiggum is really it. But yeah, I'm sure The Simpsons doesn't nearly have the following that it does here, and I'm sure his name might not even be the same.
It's just a name, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, of course, Konami said, "Okay, we'll come up with NFTs. Here, have some start screens from our famous titles. Here, you can own the digital version of them." And everybody came out and said, like, not cool, da-da-da-da-da-da. And Konami was like, "Hey, screw you, buddy. We're still gonna do it."
Konami straight up doubled down. And by the way, you know what pisses me off about, you can have the digital version? Like titles.
It's not even the real version.
Digital versions. Yeah.
It's not even the real version of the digital version.
I will right click and save your fucking JPG and tape it to my TV, so I can't even interact with it. But then I'll have it on my screen.
I mean, I own the Famicom cartridge. I'm good. But yeah. So Konami is like, for anybody who doesn't know, I mean, I'm sure you know this by now, they are like a very very much a shadow of their former self.
That's what happens when like
all their talent,
all your people fucking leave because you suck.
Basically, all of their talent has left, and has like everybody that you loved from Konami has left.
Ego left of his own volition. Kojima was fired. What else do we got? The Suikoden people I know are working on Eiyuden Chronicle, but that's a kickstarted project because like
Team
Link
Silent
Suikoden
became the Siren team. They work for Sony now.
Was Siren? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Siren was not a Konami game. Yeah, okay.
No, it's a Sony game.
That never even really occurred to me. Like, I know they did Siren, but it just didn't occur to me that it wasn't a Konami game.
Yeah, man. No, the team... literally everybody that you love that like made everything that you love about Konami back in the 8-bit and 16-bit era, and even the 32-bit era, when they were, Koji Igarashi was making his stuff. I mean, really everything petered out basically around the 360 era, like, but gradually so. 16-bit era, they were still at their height, and then they fell a bit in the 32-bit era, but were saved by new stuff like Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill. I mean, Metal Gear Solid obviously is a sequel, but it really was a sequel on a far higher level than its predecessors, right?
Yeah, to the point where I don't even know how many people like even thought of Metal Gear not Solid.
Exactly.
It's that weird game on the Nintendo. I don't know.
So you have a really a PS2, Xbox, GameCube era. They were still really solid, and then they got to 360 era, and that was basically like everything that they were doing like fell off. The last thing that they released that was of major value was Metal Gear Solid 5. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there was 4 in the 360 era, just obviously not on the 360 itself.
Well, the 360 PS3 era is what I mean.
Yeah.
So there was still some stuff, but even their their amusement division isn't the same as it was. Like their DDR music stuff is not the same. Their
you know what this makes me think of?
Stuff, it's not the same.
But like, you know what this makes me think of? Like, just like the toxic friend who's like, I hate drama, and everyone around me is full of drama. Like, it's like Konami, like, all the employees leave. Fuck every single employee. Like, no, man, it's you.
Yeah, no, they keep like their superstars. They relegated to like bullshit like janitorial duties, basically, and digital game. They really doubled down on mobile titles and really like sucked the life out of their talent because. I know there are probably some fans of mobile titles out there listening, but
mobile's pretty huge, and it's like the thing to have in China, for example.
There are good mobile titles, but like the vast majority of titles in the mobile space are there to do a quick cash grab and
not
don't
only
have
that, but
much
we talked
substance.
We've talked about this 100 times, but mobile titles are also very transient.
Very ephemeral, yeah.
I mean, yeah, like, at least with, digital-only games, we've had that conversation before, at least you could pirate those, but, like, you just try saving old phone games.
Yeah, it's really a shame. It's gonna be, especially iPhone games are gonna be akin to, silent movies, just, like, tons and tons of them are lost.
Yeah.
Like just and some of significant value that you might not even realize. Some people's like first projects are gonna be games like that. Some of them are even significant. I mean, you have entire Square Enix like long form RPGs, the Chaos Rings games that are completely inaccessible right now. The Infinity Gauntlet games, which are cherished by a lot of people who played them, are completely gone. Infinity Blade, I'm sorry, not Infinity Gauntlet.
I was like, well, I've heard of that.
But no, Infinity Blade. The game's made by Chair and Epic, and Chair no longer really only kind of does work on Battlefield, I think, or Fortnite. No, Fortnite. Yeah, they do only work on Fortnite. Because Chair is a part of Epic. So they don't even make, Shadow Complex like they once used to. I mean, it sucked the life out of them. These people hated working on that kind of stuff. And, I mean, I can understand if you want to work on that kind of stuff, that's fine. But they were forced to work on that stuff when they hated it. All the people that made Tokimeki Memorial games are gone. I mean, like all the hits from the 8 and 16-bit era and 32-bit era are like none of they have the last 2 shmups that Konami made were the Otomedius games, and they are not like anywhere even fucking close to the quality of a Gradius game. Like not even close. They're just kind of like cash grabby nonsense. Trying to get you to buy with, horniness. I mean, other than that, you have it's just like piss poor stuff. When was the last, occasionally you'll see something like Contra, like pop through with a new game. I don't know how they got that through. And it ended up being a fantastic failure, that Contra game. So, I don't know. It's just one of those things. And then a bunch of the press went and talked to Sega, and they were like, what do you think of this NFT business? And Sega straight up said, if our fans don't like us being involved with NFTs, we're not going to be involved with NFTs.
Yeah, which is still a little waffly. Like, they would have been into it. I don't even like that, but at least they backed down.
Well, they also recognize that, like, this is a very contentious thing, and it's also, like, not worth the bad press. So
Yeah.
they're cool with not touching it. I like that attitude better than Konami. Like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
Too bad. Like, ugh. So, some really cool news about PSVR came out, about PSVR2, which I think this is the first confirmation that it's called PlayStation VR 2.
When are they going to release the PSVR 2 Pro before PSVR 3?
But they released the specs, and this is, like, really cool stuff. So both Lotus and I own PlayStation VR, so this is pretty exciting. I particularly am looking forward to it for whenever I get a PS5, whenever they're available to the general public. So the display method is OLED. Panel resolution is 2000 by 2040 per eye, which is huge. That resolution is very dense. That is higher than 1080p per eye. Like in your field of view. That's amazing. Per eye. Refresh rate is 90 hertz, 120 hertz. That's awesome. Lens separation is adjustable. Field of view is 110 degrees, so that's more immersive, which means it must be curved in some way, or at least the lenses make it seem like it is.
Yeah, I mean, because keep in mind, like, just by default, humans have, like, maybe a couple degrees less than, like, 180.
Yeah.
We actually have pretty good peripheral vision.
Yeah, no, we do. But that's really good. That's a big step up from what we know. It's basically, like, PSVR is basically just looking, like, straight at a movie theater screen, for the most part. So 110 degrees is pretty darn good. Sensors are motion sensors based off of 6-axis sensing system, 3-axis gyroscope, 3-axis accelerometer, an attachment sensor, IR proximity sensor. So it's good that they're getting used to the 6-axis technology. 4
put
cameras.
That shit in the PS TV, by the way. I want to play Uncharted Golden Abyss.
4 cameras for headset and controller tracking, IR camera for eye tracking per eye. That's pretty cool. So that's a pretty neat thing. So the cameras will know where you're they will know what you're looking at, which is pretty neat. Vibration in the headset, that's neat. I didn't even notice that before. USB Type-C, that's not a surprise. And built-in microphone and stereo headphone jack, those are pretty normal things. But the Sense controllers look really neat. They unveiled them, and this is where it's really going to shine, because this is like what sets apart, like, the HTC Vive to, like, the other headsets, like, for the for PC play. Like, the controllers for the HTC Vive are, like, insanely awesome. So these ones look really good and, like, right up in that level. I'm not gonna go over, like, all the buttons because I don't feel like I need to, but, like,
well, not only that, but, like, it's just a bunch of technical,
PlayStation
like, whatever.
buttons. Yeah. But yeah, they just look neat. They kind of go around your hand and your wrist, and they look very natural to grip. Kind of like, almost like boxing gloves. Like, you kind of put your hands in them, but, like, they're not boxing gloves, but
Power gloves.
Yeah, I guess. They're not like gloves. You don't have, like, sleeves for your fingers or anything like that, but you kind of, like, go into this, like, orb with your hand and then grip a handle with all the buttons on it and the joysticks, and it's really really pretty neat. I think it's really cool. I recommend you look it up. I'm not like, probably giving it justice by calling it that, but like I just think they look really good and that they will be really nice to work with. It also like really kind of emulates a like a trigger situation really well, so it'll be really good for one-to-one hand movement, which I think will be really neat for like shoot 'em up type games, and also manipulating things in 3D space. So that looks like a lot of fun. So I'm excited. I mean, I have no idea. They're probably going to charge $500 for this thing. I can't imagine a world where they wouldn't. I mean,
the PS4 was 500 at launch, but the VR was like, what was it, like 350?
It was 350, but without the controllers. I say
sure without? Because like I got mine at a Black Friday sale and it was like $100 off, so it was 250, and then I had coupons. But that was with like 2 controllers in a game. It was a late release, to be fair.
I remember buying it for 200, maybe 250, and I already had the controllers. But that was before the blowout that you...
Yeah, you got it when it was newer, and and when you got it, Move controllers, like they couldn't give those away.
Yeah, well, I had bought the Move controllers when they were like on super sale, maybe half a year before.
Because what are you gonna play, Kung Fu Rider? Like Move controllers were useless, but all of a sudden now they're the coolest because PSVR is actually viable.
I mean, unpopular opinion, I thought PlayStation Move games and the technology were really good.
They are, but like it's a lot of like effort and setup for like Kung Fu Rider, that medieval gimmick game. Like there's some cool stuff there, but it just wasn't worth it enough. But VR, still not really at launch, but it has a sizable library now.
Yeah, and it's still growing, and you can use it with both tentpole systems, the PS4 and the PS5 still, and also, games are still coming out for it. Yeah.
And most importantly, there's a FromSoft game on there.
The horror game, right?
I don't even know if it's horror, but maybe.
Yeah.
But and strangely, by the way, I got it for like $10. I was like, did you forget that FromSoft was popular? Whatever, I'll take it.
So, there's some really neat stuff, and also stuff that's exclusive for PlayStation, like that stuff that doesn't exist. A lot of that stuff doesn't exist on computer.
No,
and
a lot of that VR stuff PSVR stuff is exclusive, strangely. I mean, the PC has a ton of exclusive VR stuff as well, but the PlayStation is a surprising amount of PlayStation-only VR titles.
Like a lot of really cool licensed stuff that you wouldn't expect otherwise, like
Doom VFR.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Doom VFR's on both platforms.
That actually did transfer over? Okay, let's say Astrobot then.
Yeah. Well, Astrobot's a PlayStation.
There you go. That's like almost cheating.
But
the game that showcases the PS5 is a Sony property?
There are plenty of games like Gungrave VR, for instance, that are on PlayStation.
I mentioned that a long time ago on the podcast. I still need to pick that up. I actually got the PS2 games now.
No, there's just like all kinds of really cool like scrappy stuff, stuff that's trying new stuff, that kind of thing.
Did Doom 3 VR ever, like, is that exclusive, or is that on anything?
I don't know. I don't know.
I know it was a GameStop exclusive, so that kind of makes me wonder. Unless it just meant the physical copy was.
VR. Let's take a look.
And there's that Vader Immortal game, which is like that Star Wars arcade experience that like almost made it feel real, but now we have an actual VR title.
Yeah,
that's so freaking cool.
That is available in the PlayStation Store.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't think it's a Steam game or anything like that.
Because like that Vader Immortal thing, it makes me think of what Red Steel was on the Wii. It's just straight up like, it's that, except you're wearing a visor, like it's in your head now. It's not just how cool the Wiimote is, it's that plus VR.
Apparently it's on the Quest. It's part of the Facebook store.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it was Doom 3 Quest. Yeah.
Okay.
There's also the Quest, which has its own stuff going on. That you use I think you use a phone in order to play the Quest stuff.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I'm not big on the Facebook nonsense. I would rather pay more money for the Valve thing if I'm going to do that. But
to not have to be connected to Facebook. Yeah.
But I really do like having using a console now, because like the computer parts are way too expensive and getting to be like way ridiculous. Like to the point where it's not even like fun anymore for me. It used to be a lot of fun to like, customize my own like PC and all that stuff, but now it's not fun anymore because of the, the shortages on things. So, I'm basically, like regaling myself to consoles. Like, this generation, I think I'm relegating, I should say. Yeah. Myself to, I'm pretty sure I'll end up using an Xbox Series X a lot more this time around, because I'm not going to have a PC equivalent that will have as good of a graphics card.
You gotta hack one of your consoles to make it into like a standard PC.
Well, I mean, like, I like that these VR systems can use the processor that or the really strong processor that's already in this video game console. I mean, that's really cool. Yep. I hope one day that the Xbox Series X allows you to use, an HTC Vive or something like that. I think that would be really neat. So yeah. But anyway, moving on. Let's see what else we have. Oh, this one's yours, Lotus.
Yeah, the greatest event of the year is here. At the time of this recording, it has just started. So today, Sunday, Awesome Games Done Quick 2022 has begun, and today, the day you are listening to this, it's still going. So I'm quite excited for...
Have they shortened it to just GDQ now? Because it used to be GDQ, right?
Well, everything is GDQ, but A GDQ is the winter one, and SGDQ is the summer one.
Okay, I got you.
GDQ is like the name of the channel and the
brand
concept. Because in the middle of the year on Twitch and on YouTube, they're like, let's do this thing with runners we know, just to keep you like involved with following GDQ. So they did pepper stuff throughout the year. It's great, but the big events are AGDQ and SGDQ. AGDQ is now, SGDQ is July, I believe.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about the highlights from you, because I know you always keep up on it, and
I'll tell you one highlight that has not yet happened yet, but I'm looking forward to. The last two of these, there's this one guy who just has a CDI, and he played through both like Zelda Wand of Gamelon and Zelda Faces of Evil. But like he's speedrunning it, but he lets the cutscenes play, because that's the whole reason you watch those games. And this year he's doing Zelda's Adventure, which I know the least about. So I'm excited to see whatever the hell that is.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing that. Like I always like all the trick stuff that people do in order to nuts. Especially like stuff like Splatoon. Things that you wouldn't expect.
There is amazing
like
stuff.
Tech.
Like that first year they did Splatoon, that was amazing.
Like all the technical like awesomeness that you see during
just playing the game really well too. It's just very fun to watch, because sometimes speedruns are just being really good at the game. It's not like, oh, I'm using a glitch or whatever. Sometimes it's just a standard gameplay but really good, and those are fun to watch.
That's awesome. Well, the next thing, I should have told people about this a couple weeks ago, and I kept forgetting. It was like one of those things that's just like, oh yeah, because like it's kind of a big deal, but in a small like community. So Pinball Fx3, which is the leading pinball simulator on console and PC, they have been they're famous for a lot of different things. They basically have taken over most of the pinball market in terms of like digital pinball. So they make their own digital tables that that have typically generic themes. Like they have like a haunted house one that they try to breathe some life into by creating their own characters and things like that. But they're like all kinds of original concepts, but like kind of generic concepts, but with their own characters. For instance, so they'll like have a medieval one, but they'll have like characters that they made within that medieval setting, and their original tables tend to be really intricate and like ones that couldn't exist in a realistic space. They also have been putting out licensed pinball tables for a very long time, ever since Pinball FX1 was on the Xbox 360 and PS3. So they are on Pinball FX3, and you can basically play all of the licensed tables from all the way back, except for 2 console exclusive ones. There was like a Ninja Gaiden one and a Street Fighter one. But anyway, they have like it's pretty awesome what they accomplished over the years. They have like a Portal themed one. They have a Walking Dead themed one that's based off of the Telltale game. They have Family Guy ones. They have Archer. They have like all kinds of different things. Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, Alien, Doom. The Doom one is like one of my favorites. I really love that. And also Marvel characters like they've done over the years, like Deadpool and things like that. They've also come out with like their own Star Wars packs as well, that are kind of sold as a different game but uses the same physics. So it would be called like Star Wars Pinball, and they have like they'll give you like 15 different tables based off of different aspects of Star Wars, like different one for each movie, and then like maybe some of the TV series, like Rebels or whatever. So it's like really cool stuff, and they obviously have built themselves a relationship with Disney. But so if people don't know this, there was some drama with there was a previous rights holder and previous basically competitor called Pinball Arcade that had all the Williams and Bally licensed pinball tables. So they were recreations of real pinball tables that people really wanted from the 80s and early 90s. Like, they had like heavy hitters like Addams Family and things like that. Like the really popular tables from back then. Twilight Zone, like Medieval Madness, all the like really, really cool ones. Pinbot, like all Bride of Pinball, all that stuff. They like overnight like lost the entire license of all of the Bally and Williams tables. Like, and I think as a surprise to them, because then all of a sudden they couldn't sell them, or and they've had these like tables on there, and that was their like bread and butter. So I think that company lost like all their income. Like they haven't released a table since, even though they have like the Gottlieb licenses. So Pinball FX got that license, and they've been like hard at work. Basically making their own digital versions of all of those tables I just said. They still don't have like a lot of the heavy hitters, but they have like a lot of the original unlicensed tables. So you have like things like Pinbot and Medieval Madness are in there, but like you don't have you also have like Funhouse, that one with the mannequin on, or the dummy in it. His name is Rudy. I don't know if you ever saw that pinball table, but it's like pretty famous.
I don't follow pinball tables. I've seen Addams Family and whatever else I've seen, I don't remember.
Gotcha. But so they really haven't had like the really big ones like Twilight Zone and Addams Family, because they need likeness rights for all of those, because they all have like
because it's the 90s movie Addams Family.
Yeah, exactly. They need clearance of Raul Julia's estate. They need Christopher Lloyd's permission to have his face on it. Angelica Houston, like all of these people need to be paid, as well as like all the music, like all the music and sound clips and all that stuff. So and as well as the original licensee, right? Addams Family is a brand. So those things have not gone through yet. So as of right now, they've only really put out the unlicensed tables, and they came out of nowhere and said that they are going to be releasing Indiana Jones: The Pinball Adventure, which is incredibly significant, because it's not only is it one of the best pinball tables ever made, but it was the most requested, and that Pinball Arcade was never able to get the rights together in order to take care of it, because it's a Disney property, and you need Harrison Ford's likeness rights and probably his voice, unless Sound Alike did it back then. But it's a really, really awesome pinball table, and they hadn't done any before, and they got basically the most difficult one out of the way. And it was probably the most requested pinball table to be put into Pinball Arcade, and it never was. So Pinball FX secured that license, and they are coming out with it. So it's really amazing what they were able to do. And so yeah, not only do they do digital original tables, they do simulations now of old real tables. So this is so cool. I can't wait to play Indiana Jones: The Pinball Adventure. It's also an expensive table to get a hold of, because it's a very popular license. So even finding one that a that is in use around is difficult, because a lot of them are snatched up by collectors and stuff like that. So, and hell, if you want to own one, they'd probably cost twice as much as any other pinball table from that vintage, because of the theme. Indiana Jones is extremely popular, so it's really neat. I just thought it was really cool. Moving on from that, this is probably only maybe Lotus that you know what this is, but it's such an obscure thing. But there was a really obscure, weird horror Japan only horror game called Garage.
Oh yeah, somebody at some point released a playable on Windows 10 version of that game, for free download, I think.
Oh really? Did they translate it?
I forgot, because I downloaded it, but I didn't open it, but I think it might have been.
Yeah, but Hardcore Gaming 101 is how I know about it, because they try to dig up this kind of stuff. But apparently they put out out of nowhere a fully translated English version of Garage, fully licensed, and it's legit.
Yeah, that's the shocking part.
It's a legit version of Garage, a game that was completely inaccessible, not only because of except for the fan-made thing that you're talking about.
Yeah,
but,
even in Japan, it's extremely rare.
Yeah, it was an extremely rare game. It's very weird and up our alley. But yeah, they put it out on mobile, so you can get it for iTunes or Google Play. I purchased it and downloaded it the other day. But yeah, they out of nowhere have this weird horror adventure game from the late 90s that nobody knows about except for huge nerds. And I'm in my glory. I wish it was on Steam or GOG or something, with a PC version, but I'm glad it exists in some form, so I can finally take a look at it. Moving on from that, this next one's yours.
Yeah, another one of these announcements. King of Fighters 15 confirmed another classic character, Kula, the girl who ice skates and has ice powers. There you go. It's an old character, but she's back.
Wow. Huh.
What? She's been around.
Yeah, I just haven't heard the name in a long time. It's one of those things.
Yeah, Kula, Kula. Get it? 'Cause cooler.
Wow.
It's how Japan always names its murderers Kira, 'cause killer. It's a joke. Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, like in Death Note and in JoJo, and there's more.
Yeah, exactly. That's used a lot. And Akira even is kind of associated with it too. But
Is
anyway,
it?
I've seen it.
It's just a name.
Yeah, but like it's close to Kira.
It is, but I've never
Yeah.
seen it used in that context.
I have. I don't know where. I don't remember, but I've experienced it.
The main Akira I can think of is well,
From
there's
Akira?
Virtua Fighter. He's just a guy, and there's Rival Schools where she was a girl, where that was the twist because Akira can be both a boy's and a girl's name. So
Sure.
it's like ah ha ha ha, got you there.
Yeah. I don't remember it, but I could be misremembering, of course, but
Yeah, who knows?
yeah, but anyway, I think that's pretty cool. Moving on from that, we also have. Oh, I wanted to go over Arcade Archives put out Super Pac-Man on Switch recently, and this is pretty significant because Pac-Man games, especially in particular the sequels, other than Miss Pac-Man, hardly ever get put in the limelight. Especially like the Japan sequels. Actually, less so the American sequels. So for anybody who doesn't know, there were two branches of Pac-Man sequels. Ones that were made in the United States and ones that were made in Japan officially by Namco. So Bally would license like their own sequels to Pac-Man to try to capitalize off of the popularity of Pac-Man. And much to Japan's and Midway's chagrin, the most popular one is Miss Pac-Man, which
It's amazing.
an American knockoff, basically made by two guys from MIT that would put in like daughter boards into Pac-Man machines to change like how it functioned. It's actually like in a documentary. It's like well documented. Their original business was going around and making like harder versions of Missile Command, if that's even possible, because Missile Command is already fucking hard. But yeah, they basically their business would be to install these like daughter boards of alternate versions of these games, and so that arcade operators could get more life out of their games that were, that needed to have some change up happening, So they came out with, a game that was that was Miss Pac-Man, but it looked different, but it was what we know as Miss Pac-Man. And then Namco basically sued them, and or no, it was Bally who sued them, but basically they came to a deal that they could change it into a fully licensed sequel, and Japan had nothing to do with it, and they're still pretty sore about it, and I'm pretty sure Bally Midway does not own Miss Pac-Man still to this day. It was like snatched up by like some weird North American company that is basically extorting them for it. So you won't see Miss Pac-Man on most things anymore, but you will. They're starting to put out Pac-Man's less popular sequels, like Pac and Pal and Super Pac-Man. That's pretty interesting stuff, considering like that stuff rarely gets released, because it's just not as popular as regular Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man. So I just think it's neat. It has different rules. You turn into a Super Pac-Man with a gigantic, you're gigantic in it. And the maze is more complicated. So it's probably less popular because it's more complicated. And old arcade games, like part of their fun is their simplicity. So like the more complicated that they got, it's actually not as good a lot of times, because like arcade games are hard enough to begin with. They want to kill you and take your money. So like it's better for them to be simplistic, and so you can get a little bit better at them and master them. But yeah, I just think this is pretty cool. And that's the show for this week. We actually ran pretty darn long this time, Lotus, so we're actually going to split this into 2 episodes. Corrective will actually have the second half of what we were talking about here in Reactive, and we'll continue on our coverage of the Matrix franchise on for next week. So please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, where we will continue our discussion about this week's items. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much anything. Just give me a heads up and let me know how you know me.
And you could follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
That's just prime. We will catch everybody for the remainder of our discussion on Thursday.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.